Hey guys, it's Daniel, and welcome back to a new video. Today, I wanted to talk about class mains in TF2, and not so much their stereotypes or opinions of others, but going on to pour hundreds of hours into that one character. Now, I think maining a class comes with some pros and cons, and honestly, it just really depends on what you are looking to get out of the game that determines if it would usually be a good idea to do so or not. Now, ultimately, you are never really stuck to one class, so having a main isn't a big commitment. It's just that later on down the road, your expectation or abilities to play other classes may be short-sighted because you have poured so much mechanical practice into only one class, which usually doesn't transfer to everybody else entirely. Now, as a scout main for almost 1,000 hours now, I can tell you that branching out, so late is pretty hard for me to do because I'm just kind of way ahead of where I think I am skill-wise. You know, after pouring in so many hours, not only into scout, but just into the game, I have developed the ignorant thoughts that I could have so much experience in this game that any class I pick up will come naturally, and I shouldn't have a problem playing anybody else, right? Now, obviously, that wasn't the case, and as I started to get into demo and soldier some more, because there are two classes I have a lot of fun playing on the side, it was extremely frustrating having to get my ass beat to almost relearn, the entire game, and in a way that really shows the beauty of this game and its skill ceiling. The fact that I could pour hundreds of thousands of hours into the game as a whole and still practically have to readjust my mindset when playing a different class is a testament to that diversity and different skill ceilings each class offers that really keeps the game interesting and is always pushing me as a player to adapt and think outside of what I traditionally play. But that being said, it was still really annoying to play these classes because I was just kind of way ahead of myself skill-wise, and when you have so many hours in TF2, that can be very demoralizing to say the least. If I had only, a couple hundred hours or something, I probably wouldn't be as frustrated, given that my expectations for performing well as these classes wouldn't be nearly as high. But when you have 1, 2, 3,000 hours in the game and you beat 4 pipes and 5 stickies, you kind of feel stupid. So late game, sticking with one class for so long can maybe be detrimental in your ability to pick up other classes and get through the early stages of learning a new class, without giving up out of shame. But honestly, it's probably more of a personal problem because I am not good at TF2. But what about early on? Well, early on, most players end up making that choice for what class they want to stick with, and honestly, I think picking a main early on can be pretty helpful when it comes to learning the more general mechanics of the game and just learning the more general emotions of the game. Scout in my early days was a great choice for me outside of self-interest because he taught me the very rugged and punishing gunfights that this game dishes out. And Scout made me learn quickly that I need to both master movement and aim in order to stand a chance in a lot of these engagements. So even before I really started to get into the more specific complexities that came with playing Scout, he taught me the fundamentals in a way that was comforting and fun because even if I didn't directly realize I was learning these mechanics, I ended up getting through the early stages of learning through just one class. And the thing was, I wasn't completely stagnant starting out, and I had desires to learn how to play other classes, with Demoman being one of them. So I did start to slowly, put in the hours on those other classes, but to get past the very basic mechanics of this game is hard, and I owe Scout for getting me through those early stages. In the end, when it comes to maining a class, I don't think there really is anything directly wrong with doing so. I think there are consequences to playing one class for so long. Obviously, you run the risk of getting bored or too complacent, and then in the end, you're unable to play other classes as effectively, but honestly, all of these concerns can be solved just by branching out and exploring the other aspects of TF2. I think what keeps TF2 so interesting is all the different classes and playstyles you could choose, and obviously, there is a chance that if you play the same way for so many hours that you may be looking for something a little different. Overall, having a main and good balance is a good middle ground to take, because ultimately, if you want to be the most useful to any team, having a core understanding of the basics of each class will ultimately benefit you and your team in the long run. But having a class you play more than others and considering him your main isn't a bad thing. However, still being able to switch to engineer, medic, or whatever class your team needs is more important in the end, and it's usually those players who end up putting in the most work. So if you haven't picked a main and you're considering it, I would honestly recommend it, because the journey of picking a class you really enjoy and getting as good as possible with him is truly a rewarding experience and one of the best parts about the game. I guess it's just important to remember that everyone else exists and, just do your best to adapt when the situation calls for it, because oftentimes that is the nature of TF2. But yeah, guys, that about does it for this video. Of course, I'd like to hear what you guys think about maining a class in TF2. What mains do you have, and if you don't, why is that? I'm always curious to hear your guys' thoughts down below. And with that in mind, guys, I'd like to thank you all for watching this little video, and as always, thank you, and have a good day.